So we've got a snapper here, nice, good size snapper that you might, the average fisher might catch. We scaled it and wiped it down and gutted it, removed the guts and wiped out the gut cavity, removed the gills. That will make it easier to fillet, in my opinion, overall. Some people like to fillet with the guts intact and then just go over the rib cage. I've got the Kershaw 9-inch filleting knife here. I'm just going to start by making an incision behind the spine, behind the backbone. So you just come in there at the back there, right at the back of the dorsal fins, and just slide down and just make a slice first, just so you're confident with that, like that. Then make it a hole here and cut up and cut down behind the head. So you've got the shape of the fillet there starting. Now get your knife and just bring it behind and follow the bone, and just follow that bone with the knife against the bone there, and get to the middle part of the fillet. You'll see that there'll be the spine will be running down the middle there. So then push your knife through at the end there and just cut that little bit out. Lift up your fillet and then push and feel the bone and run along the bone out towards the other side. Now, sometimes with snapper, we get a little bit of a calcification in the bone here. It can make it a little bit tricky. You might be trying to cut and you'll be hitting that little node there. So when you get to that, you've just got to sort of flip your knife over the blade, over the nodule, and just sort of try and cut it away like that. You see we've got that little hard bone there. It's very hard to cut through that. So you just sort of want to cut around it as best you can. And then just cut down, cut out, so you've got that whole fillet hanging out there. So now it's connected by is the rib cage. So either you can get your knife and pull towards you, or if you want to be really safe, get your knife in here, face it towards that rib cage bone, lift up the fillet there, and just make sure your hand is behind the knife. Do not have your hand in front of the knife, and just push out like that. And there you'll remove the fillet. So the other side, quite similar, but we start down the bottom. So we cut first behind the head downwards, then on the bottom here, cut following the knife along the blade, along the bone there. You'll also find, because we had on the other side that little calcification, so you just have to sort of know where it is and go over it a little bit. Just work your knife slowly there. Don't try and go hard on it. Then you can bring your knife through and cut back out again. Then turn the fish around and come and follow behind the spine, upwards like that. Just follow the bone, take your time, there's no rush. Make sure you get all that meat off the bone there. And then, once you've done that, you can just sort of run your knife through the middle. It'll all separate. And once you've separated all that fillet, your knife behind the rib cage, just cut towards the head, pushing the knife towards the bone, and you'll remove it. We still have the rib cage inside, and we still have that middle pin bones in the middle, centre bones. So with the rib cage, with a snapper, a lot of reef fish, you just sort of got to get between that pin bone and the rib bones. So you sort of just work your way in there until you sort of feel the groove, and you can just sort of give a bit of an exploratory slice, a little bit, and see if you really feel like you're in there. Once you know you're there, just keep the knife against that rib cage bone, sort of up against it, and then slice through. And you'll get it as close to the rib cage as you can as possible. Cut that belly as slim as you can, that little bit off the end there, and there you've got a nice cut out of the rib cage. So now we've still got that little middle bone inside there. So you want to have a completely boneless fillet. Just cut down on one side of it to the skin, cut down the other side of it to the skin. Then get your knife and just cut that bone out. Just slide it against the skin as if you're skinning, but just in the middle there. And then you can take that middle bone out. So that's how we do it in the restaurant. You can serve a skin-on fillet, a whole fillet with the middle bone out, the rib cage bone out. Right? That's where this knife comes into its own when you're filleting fish like snapper or like your reef Queensland type species. You do that same. You can use that same method with all those fish, and you can really like make sure that you get along the bone and you can bend that knife and have that flexibility all the way up the bone, and you can make sure that you get right behind that spine all the way. And yeah, using that method, when you get a bigger fish, it might be hard to cut through the rib cage, and then you can use the method of cutting over the rib cage, which I can show you another time. But yeah, that's a great method, and it'll work on a lot of fish. And this Kershaw 9-inch filleting blade is the perfect knife for that job.